Hi guys, welcome back to my channel and thanks for coming back onto my videos. So this was a Power of Makeup challenge that I accepted, and this is basically what Nikki Tutorials came up with. She was the first one that done it, and what it was doing half your face with your full kind of glam and the other half not touching. So you can see a huge difference between both. I can easily wear no makeup, but I love doing makeup. Makeup is something that I do every day. Makeup is something I do as a hobby, and makeup is something I do that I enjoy. So this is what I came up with, something very glam, red lips, smoky eye, and this is just something that I would maybe go out on a night out, or basically just if I was going maybe to work that was having full glam. And this on the other side was probably something I would wear when I'm not out, when maybe I'm having chill days off from work. I don't always have to wear makeup to feel amazing about myself, because I feel fine in my own skin, but it's nice to wear makeup. But I feel like every time I do makeup I develop more skills, I develop more ways of doing things, finding out what my skin can do, as well as what shapes, what colours, etc. go as well. And basically makeup is there to be taken off, so you can try as many times as you want and take it off at the end of the day, no hassle. I hope you enjoyed my little video, and I hope you subscribe and like and share as well to your friends. Thank you! So first I'm using and priming my eyelid and just laying down a base, which is going to be Groundwork Paintpot by MAC, and I'm just buffing that all over my lid. Just, it's like a nice brown colour, and that's going to help darken everything that I'm going to put on top of it as well. So taking two shades from the NYX Contour Palette and using them in my crease just to create more of a transition colour, and also more of a warmer transition colour, as we will be using a lot of dark browns in this eye. I like to use a nice fluffy, thin fluffy brush, and that's just going to help get right into that crease. So it is just literally buffing it into my crease, and no higher and no lower either. The best kind of strokes to use with this is kind of like the rainbow strokes, or more like a window wiper stroke as well, and just pushing it back and forth in the crease. So next I'm just going to be using a lot of Mercier translucent powder just to buff and soften the edges of the smoky eye, as I don't want any dark harsh lines with this eye either. So what I'm using right now is just the Embark by MAC, and I'm just packing that all over the lid, and I'm just pushing it into the lid and not buffing it out yet. And then I will be using the two colours from the NYX palette, and I'm just buffing it through with that now. And still using the same kind of movements like the window wiper and the rainbow movements, just to really get that softened crease bone. I always like to go back in with a little bit of that loose powder again, just to soften the edges as we go along. And you can always go back in with your eyeshadows just to add a bit more depth until you get the desired look from that eyeshadow that you're using. So next I'm going to be going in with Squid Eyeliner by MAC along my lash line, and that's just going to push it up as well, and buffing it out with a little bit of carbon eyeshadow from MAC. And I just felt like it wasn't dark enough still, and I just wanted to build up a little bit more of darkness. And using that squid, it's a bit more creamier, so that carbon is just going to attach to that as well. And this is only going on the lid, I'm not going any further, and I'm still going to use smaller movements to buff it up. So I'm going to curl my lashes, and these are just the curlers from MAC that I'm using. Very nice, simple, and they're the full lash line curlers as well. And that's just going to get my lashes ready for mascara later on. Taking our darkest colour that we used before, Embark, along the lash line on an angled brush and just push it all the way into the inner corner. And then the next two colours after that I'm going to use is still the two colours we used on the eye to use as a transition colour. So then two NYX colours and just blend out that colour that we've got on the lower lash line. So using that Squid Eyeliner back in my lower lash line and just pushing that in and taking it all the way into the inner eye, and that's just going to create a bit more smokiness. And if your eyes are watery and sensitive like mine, I would always stop in between and just give your eyes a little bit of a rest, just in case you do water and you ruin your eye basically. So by the time I just felt like it wasn't as dark as I wanted it to be, so I went in with using the Maybaline gel eyeliner to darken the eyes, and I just felt like it just pushed it on and pushed it on my waterline as well and buffed it out, and that gave me like the perfect dark grungy smoky eye that I was looking for. And you can see that makes a big difference already. Perfect, so onto the skin now. I'm just using the P6 spray from Urban Decay and misting it all over my skin. And then next I'm using the men's Aftershave Balm and pushing it into my skin, and it did feel a bit weird doing 1.5, but I did still use it until it got a bit more tacky and pulling on the skin. So next I'm going to be using the Studio Fix from MAC, and that's an NC20, and using it on a damp beauty blender which I soaked in Fix Plus spray. And pushing this all the way into the skin, giving it more of a full coverage look. And using it damp just means your sponge isn't going to use up all of the foundation, and it just means you're going to get a nice even hydrated layer onto your skin as well. When you're using this, you have to be careful that you're not pushing too hard and spreading the product out too far, so just make sure where you are putting your sponge and the placement of it. So next, using Prolong concealer from MAC, and that is an NW15, so a lot lighter, and it is more in a warm tone, but that's just going to help give me more of a brighter under eye. And I'm still using the same sponge that I used my foundation, so that's just going to blend out all the colours together. This is also going to help us when we're contouring, as it is brightening effect under my eye, but at the same time concealing and correcting my under eye area as well. I feel when you've done a smoky eye already, use like a fluffy brush and buff it into the eyeshadow area, and it just creates more of a smoky look instead of a sharp line going all the way around your smoky eye. So using the Tom Ford shade in Illuminate, I'm using obviously the darker colour, and I'm just going to use that as a contour colour and popping it on my cheekbones, around my forehead, and also just under my chin area, and then blending it out. I love this colour. I don't use it enough, but it is a nice colour for that bronzy kind of effect to the skin. And it helps obviously give more of a glow and a sculpted look to the skin as well. And using creams just so much easier to blend into the skin and like move around, whereas powders, you're really setting it when you're using a powder as well. So it's nice that I can play about it with it right now. So going back with that Mercier powder, which I am in love with, I've only got it
last week and I've used it in every makeup that I've done so far, and I'm really baking the under eye area, the under the cheekbone area, down my nose, and that's just going to give a brightening effect and also cook it basically and give it more of a set to it as well. So while it's setting, I just took my powder brush that already had a little bit of eyeshadow on and just blended a little bits out. And then next I'm going to use the MAC Black 3D glitter, and it's got a little bit of like iridescent glitter through it, and I just packed that on with a wet brush onto a fixed plussed eye, and that's just going to stick a little bit without using like glue or thicker creamier products, because that sometimes goes a bit funny on top of your eyeshadow. And that's just to give it a bit of a glam eye and a bit of a sparkle when I'm looking down. So using the new waterproof mascara from MAC, I just really buffed that into my eyes. I had already curled them so they were a little bit more longer and curled, so this just gives a little bit more of a volume, a little bit more of the darkness around my eye. And then for my under eyes, I always use extended play as much as I can unless I've not got it with me, and it's such more of a thinner brush and a defining brush as well. So for all of the skin, I just used medium golden, buffed that all in, took off that bake a little bit more, and then for the contour I went over with a little bit of medium deep skin finish as well from MAC. So for blush, I just used my palette and I used Desert Rose mixed in with a little bit of Mocha, and them two are from MAC as well. And then for my highlight, my trusty Soft and Gentle on a wet brush and popped onto the tops of my cheeks, around my brow, down my nose, and a little bit on my cupid's bow and chin. I also like to put a little bit around the brow as it was more of a dark eye. I didn't have much other kind of shimmers through it except from that glitter. And then I used Vanilla Pigment from MAC as well in the inner corner and just touched up on my brow highlight and my nose highlight, as you can never have enough. So it was a hard choice between these, but I went for the more classic brighter red in the Retro Matte lipsticks, which are the liquid lipsticks, and just buffed that all around my lips and overdrew them just that little bit more.